We're thrilled to have Yamin Gröninger from EY. Yamin is a partner at EY, responsible for a lot of topics around digital disruption, innovation, and very close to the insurance sector. And that's going to be the topic of our quick discussion today, is the insurance sector. Many people have talked about the banking sector and, of course, all the other sectors that have been affected by the current crisis. And I'd love to ask Yamin, what impact has this COVID crisis had, and what impact is it having on the insurance sector?
So in such a special time, right, the entire world is working on installing the resilience into the economy. And interestingly, insurance is an industry built on the purpose of resilience, basically. So that's why this industry is clearly in the spotlight, which means the response of the insurers will differentiate themselves in customers' views. So who are the players creating value by doing the right things for protecting the customers, and who are the ones focusing on nice KPIs for themselves? So it's really very interesting moment for the industry, because the impact from the crisis itself compared to other industries like travel, transportation, or manufacturing, retail, is not really as significant. I think the banking industry even more significant than the insurance industry. That's why the players here, because they have the privilege to have that resilience for the moment, and then it's interesting to observe who's really focused on doing the right things. So I would quote something, General Patton said once, success is how high you bounce when you hit bottom. So it's really interesting to observe who are the ones who bounce high in this particular situation.
Very nice. A very nice quote. You say it. I love this idea of insurance being about resilience and about protection. What do insurance companies really need to protect at this point?
So we hear the most struggling part of the economy is obviously health. So mental health and the physical health of the people, and financial security of the consumers. On the business side, on business disruption, right? So these are the point from the consumer perspective. You would think, here's I need the most help. That's why also the public sector is working on the financial stimulus on mainly in these areas. But then when you see, it's not a criticism, by the way, when you see the insurance industry, and they have learned from the different crises in the past, like SARS in 2003, they have built into a lot of the exception into their policy, which means business disruption is only covered if it's related to property, and it's not covered if it's related to pandemic. And similar things with other policies as well. What is indeed covered are, for example, directors and officers liability and event cancellation and credit and surety, but also with particular, some of the policies to have also exceptions. So here it's of course a mismatch between the expectation from the consumer side and what is really covered by the insurance company. And in a way, it's kind of a big challenge for the whole industry, because insurance is something you buy in good weather, but then you need in bad weather. So in good weather, you don't care about it. Now it's bad weather. Everybody is asking for the umbrella, but actually the umbrella is not always built in what you bought in the good weather, because consumers don't understand. Now, very important is the communication, but also some of the voluntary kind of, paybacks or voluntary contribution to the society is also needed from insurance sector to manage that reputational risk and to also protect the whole industry. If you look at the COVID related losses together, I'm talking about all the impacts, economic impacts, and also on the financial impacts together, it would be a huge gap between that number and the accumulated capital reserve of the whole industry as insurance. So if one insurer started paying off the kind of claims or losses that they are not covering, and it will become a whole snowball effect that make the whole industry into insolvency, which nobody wants, right? So it's really a good balance between, what the insurance companies can do, but then how to still go back to the customers and manage the expectation.
Very good answer. Thank you very much. So it's really, there's a systemic threat as well, in terms of paying out too much. I'd like to ask you about sort of differentiation between the different providers. What, in your estimation, will distinguish the leaders from the laggards?
I think the leaders will address the different challenges in particular time frame, focus on the most important thing and then do it right. And EY, we're talking about a framework is called Now, Next, and Beyond. And let me stick to this framework saying, well, within now, which means next 3 months, the most important things within now for the leaders, leading companies are communication, stabilization, and redo the numbers. So communication more focused on towards the customers and also the stakeholders in the society, what they are doing. And stabilization is about themselves, the workforce, but also work with the government to stabilize the economy, including some of the voluntary payback of the premiums, because you don't have a lot of claims coming in like for cars and aviation. And the last one on the redo the numbers is calculate your solvency level to make sure you're still doing well, and scenario planning for the business going forward. Within Next, the most 3 important things are digital trust in distribution, agile operation, and product innovation. So digital trust in distribution is about how to equip your current agents in a low-touch economy, but still build on that person-to-person trust. Agile operation is about how to accelerate your way towards cloud-based system, flexible workforce, and revisit your operating model to build that resilience into your business. And product innovation is about what products are really adding value in the going forward to covering up your customers' needs. For example, parametric and use-based insurance. So within Beyond, the most 3 important things are revisit your purpose, and to be true to yourself and to the customers. And related to that, reevaluate your strategy and transformation agenda to your refined purpose. And the last one is formalize an ecosystem to protect the customers and protect the society.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So to finish off, maybe one last question. I'd like to talk about the topic of innovation. And I'd like to ask about specifically about COVID, and if so, how can COVID, this whole crisis, serve as a catalyst to accelerate sort of the innovation cycle?
A crisis in the past was always kind of shock, or in a way a positive thing of driving innovation, because normally people are, like in the startup language, right? And if you are developing anything innovative, the first question the investor put on the table is there any pain point, right? Or is that a nice to have? And in a way, crisis create a lot of pain points. Pain points currently we started realizing, how to, again, as I said, how to manage the low touch economy. And also the commercial lines are hit even more, right? The credit and surety and SME community. There are a lot of pain points where currently nobody has a solution on, but everybody is really asking for solutions. So on this particular kind of trigger, an innovation will emerge, because there is an urgency, sense of urgency is there, and the pain points are created in a way for a business opportunity. But back to my point, last point on the Beyond, nobody can do it alone. And that's why the network effect or the ecosystem effect will become even more prominent. So I would see it will become a trigger, not only on innovation, but on open innovation.
Very good point. I think that's wonderful to end this off with this whole ecosystem idea, to sort of join parties that were previously in competition with one another to perhaps collaborate a little bit as they navigate the way forward. Thank you so much, Yamin. We look forward to seeing you again on this program and talk to you soon.
Thank you, Robert.